welcome back to Draw My Life. Life is full of good and bad times, and I would like to share them with you. Ages 17 to 25 is what I considered the dark ages in my life. No, I wasn't dark as an emo or goth. It was dark meaning a time of great pessimism, religious upheaval, depression, hatred, and a bleak outlook in life. During this time, I did not have any set goals in life. I lived my life day to day, and that was pretty much it. Okay, so age 17 was the time where I slipped into this black hole. What exactly is this black hole? Well, basically it's anxiety and depression. What it boiled down to is this: I simply did not like who I was. So I fell into this ultimate trap of comparing myself to others. For instance, I would compare my life to, let's say, my older brothers, and felt horrible. You see, when my older brothers were in high school, they were highly intelligent students who succeeded in sports and were very popular. As for me, learning was challenging, which produced bad grades, and I sucked at sports and was not popular. I felt I was a failure in life because I was not good at anything. Another aspect in which made me depressed was money. Growing up, my parents did not have a whole lot of money, especially when I got in high school. It's like my parents got poorer for whatever reason. Christmas would come late some years, and school clothes shopping didn't always happen every year. So I compared what I wore to my peers and felt like poor trash. By senior year, I never went to the prom or any social events. I just wanted to be at home in my room playing video games and drinking. Yes, I drank a lot in high school. Probably more than I should have, to be honest. I felt drinking helped ease the misery. Drinking put some weight on. I was pretty husky. I hated who I was. I hated being gay. I hated my weight. I hated everything about me. So I would pray every morning and night to God and ask Him to cure me. He never did. One time I got so angry, I cursed at God, and then I denounced Him as a sign of retaliation. This is when I started my period in life with atheism. Anyways, I remember getting in a lot of trouble in high school, usually over some dumb crap like being tardy, passing notes, and so on. What is weird is I did not mind getting punished. I felt like I deserved it, but why? Because I simply pretended to be someone I was not, a rebel who wanted to be cool and fit in. And I simply was not, no matter how hard I tried. I remember graduating high school and feeling so relieved. I never wanted to look back ever again. So next came college. Oh wait, fuck that. I decided not to go to college because I simply was not ready. I had such a bad taste from high school, and so my other option was the real world. I wanted money. So immediately after high school, I moved out of my parents and moved into a townhouse with my sister and brother. I got a job and was fortunate to start working for my parents full time. My parents ran two convenience stores and it had a sub program in it, like Subway. I was a sub artist. I hated it. What I hated about it was dealing with the customers. Very picky people who were pretty much bitchy. They would be like, that's not enough mayonnaise, or that's too little. I mean, which is it? Damn. I wanted to say so many things, but I bit my tongue. It wasn't a good combination, dealing with all my issues in life and working there. My sister was boss, and she was pretty good. Very strict to work for. She taught me a lot about the real world, and I am thankful for it. At my new home, my brother and sister fought a lot, and so did I. I would usually come home and work and hibernate in my room all the time. After 1 year, my sister found love and moved out, leaving me and Mike to live there at the townhouse. We lived there for about 7 years. A year later, my parents couldn't afford to sustain their business and they had to sell it. So I stayed and worked for the new owners. I did like the new owners, but the culture and communications created an issue. One day I just had enough and just quit. I never returned. Looking back at it, it was a good move for what I did, and I'm proud of myself. I had no regrets. It was time to move on from subs to books. So I worked in the blue-collar sector, in manufacturing. I worked in a printing press and a book bindery for years. The people that worked there were rough rednecks. They weren't mean or anything like that. I certainly didn't fit in, especially being gay. There were a lot of lesbians, though, that worked there. In my early 20s, times got darker for me socially. You see, manufacturing is not the most social job in the world. People there are not as social as you would find in retail, let's say. So this did not help me improve socially. I got even more depressed and even thought about taking my own life at times. I remember hating everyone. I had such hatred for everybody. Looking back, it was merely a reflection of hating myself. Much of the hatred stems from social inadequacies and being gay. I wanted to be normal. Every day I felt I am some gay fucked up guy. I felt gross. I wasn't like anyone else. Somebody please help me. But something had awakened in me. So when I was 24, I remember having two of the most vivid dreams I have ever had. The first dream I had took place in a forest grove. I walked into the grove and stumbled across people wandering around in it. The people looked like they were from different time periods. I saw a Native American, a Roman emperor, a knight, and so on. So an old man who resembled Merlin the wizard approached me and said, "Go around and talk to the others and then return back to me." I first approached the knight on a horse. I nervously tried to talk to him, but he ignored me. I felt rejected, and it hurt. I then approached the Native American, something like this tribal chief or whatever. I remember the conversation was very serious, but I remember being very nervous around him. I talked to the others and felt good or uneasy, but I remember having the most amazing conversation with the Roman emperor. He was nice and wanted to talk more. I felt comfortable around him. He acted like he truly cared about me, but I had the sense that something wasn't quite right with him. But I ignored this feeling. So I finally returned back to the old man, Merlin. He asked me who I disliked the most. I said the knight because he was snobby. The old man said, "The knight is a very shy man. He's a really nice person if you get to know him." The old man then asked, "Which one did you like the most?" I said, "The Roman emperor." The old man shook his head and said, "He's the evilest man of all. He's Satan in disguise. He tricked you." I remember being shocked. I then woke up immediately. I wrote down the dream right away so I wouldn't forget. It was such an interesting dream. It was so interesting as to why I had it. Why did I have this dream to begin with? What does it all mean? I realized later it had a lot to do with trust. At work, I had trusted someone who was really not nice, and I refused to admit it. As for the night, there were a few other people that worked there that were shy, and you had to spend some time building trust. The key takeaway with this is I realized dreams can have hidden answers to life's problems. Okay, so the other dream was scary. I was surrounded with pitch blackness. I remember crying and feeling depressed. And then I heard this voice. He was laughing. I asked him, "Why are you laughing?" He replied back,
"Because you do not know what pain is."
And then I said, "I do know what pain is. I'm going through it right now." The voice laughed again. He replied,
"You do not know what pain is. This is pain."
I then felt the most depressing feeling I ever had in my life. I pleaded to the voice to stop. "Stop the pain," I said, "stop." I then woke up relieved. This nightmare turned out to actually be a good dream because it was a wake-up call. Things would get worse if it didn't change. I also took what I had for granted. Things were not as bad as what I had made them to be. I had to start making some changes in my life right away. So the changes had to start. So I had to deal with this whole gay thing. I took a stand and realized I needed to explore the gay community to better understand myself, to better accept myself. I never looked at gay porn immediately or talked to gay men before. This was totally brand new to me and I was scared. It's like I was on Mars. For the first time, I summoned up my guts and I went online to gay.com, a gay website that had chat rooms or whatever. So I went into these chat rooms and boy, it was a disaster. I got my feelings hurt. I was called ugly and chunky by this one guy. Yes, I admitted I was chunky then, but was I ugly? Am I really ugly? I immediately deleted my gay.com account and went to bed that night feeling really upset and mad. You see, I was a very sensitive guy, and anything offensive was a huge trigger for me. The very next day I said fuck it and went back on to gay.com chat rooms and started chatting with other guys in the area. It was not bad. No one hated on me. Okay, yes, some people never responded to me, but that was fine. I was figuring out my place in the gay community. I finally decided to meet someone in person. I felt I had to do some coming out, if you know what I mean. So my straight twin brother Mike had to know I was gay since he was living with me. Coming out was like a zit ready to be popped, a volcano ready to erupt. A bomb ready to go off. Okay, you get my point. I wanted to tell Mike so bad, but I couldn't. I felt too weak to say anything to him. All I had to say is the two magic words. I'm gay. That's it. But why is it so fucking hard? Maybe he knew I was gay, because I do not have any girl in my life and I'm 24. I have to tell him. So one evening, me and Mike were in a jokative mood and Mike cracked a gay joke. I knew right then and there it was the perfect time to tell him. I finally said it, the two magic words, I'm gay. Michael, of course, laughed, thinking I was kidding. And then I said, I'm serious. I am gay. I had that serious look on my face, I knew, and my eyes started to water, and next thing I knew, buckets of rain were pouring out of them. I was crying. At that time in my life, I never cried. Mike's changed from a warm laughter to a cold concern. He went over to me and hugged me right away. He started crying too. He never cried either. He told me I love you no matter what, and it's cool you're gay. I remember telling him everything about me, the lies I told to appear straight, the battle over being gay, everything. I will never forget this moment with my brother for as long as I live. After coming out to my brother, I actually felt really bad. I felt he would see me differently now that I was gay, like a lesser man. After a few months, I got over it and went back to meeting guys. I remember meeting my very first gay guy. I was so nervous. I got even drunk before he got there to my house. He was a good-looking man, very good-looking. When I met him, I felt pressured to do sexual stuff with him. But I couldn't get hard. I was simply not interested. I was pushing sexual desire because of society's pressures. I was not yet comfortable with the fact I am gay. I had not accepted it truly yet. I was still so repressed, but that started to change. In fact, my whole life started to change. I was rebounding and becoming a better man. This black hole was starting to fade away. I started to take charge of my life and set goals. My first goal was to get healthier and lose all that weight I put on over the years. I was a husky guy and was a junk food fanatic. I eat veggies twice a year. I also smoked a few years and I needed to quit. My second goal was to go back to school. I have someone to thank for that goal. One day at the bookbinder, I was working with a half-deaf woman named Geneva. She asked if I had kids and I exclaimed, no, I don't have kids. Geneva got mad at me and said, what are you working here then? I then said, well, what do you mean? She fired back saying, you need to get an education, get a job. Never forget what she said. She planted a seed inside me that would continue to grow into a goal. So how did I do with the first goal? I was totally ignorant with the healthy eating at first. I mean, I was eating veggies all the time, and that's not what you need to do because I found that A, I was sick, and B, you don't need to be eating veggies all the time. As far as the smoking, for my 25th birthday, I quit smoking cold turkey, and I never looked back ever since. The smartest thing I ever did. What about my second goal? What about college? Well, that's in the next installment of Draw My Life. Ages 17 to 25 was a dark time for me. I battled depression, spirituality, shyness, homosexuality. I fought my issues with hatred. I set out goals to propel my life into a new age. This age reignited me into a new life, a new man, a changed man. Stay tuned to Draw My Life Part 3 where I cover ages 25 to 28.